Hey, welcome to John's Jeep Garage. Today we're going to learn how to replace spark plugs on a 2000 Jeep Wrangler. Hi, welcome to John's Jeep Garage. Today we're going to be changing spark plugs on a 2000 Jeep Wrangler TJ. We're going to show you how to remove the ignition coil, show you how to remove the spark plugs, inspect them, and then replace them with a new set. We'll show you the type we're using, and we'll show you how to reassemble it and start it back up. That's all this video is about. Thank you for watching. So on the passenger side of the Jeep, you want to look at the side of the engine and you'll see a black strip there. Really, it's the ignition coil with 4 bolts in it. Those are 13mm bolts, and we're going to remove that to get to the spark plugs. So the first thing I do is remove the air intake hose. I start from disconnecting it from the air filter housing, and then I go to the center from the crankcase vent tube, and then I'll remove it from the throttle body. Some people choose not to do this, but it's easier access and it doesn't take much time. Just set the air intake hose to the side. Now let's start to work on removing the 4 bolts from the ignition coil. Again, remember it's 13mm. Once you finish that, just take the 4 bolts, set them to the side. I use a magnetic tray, just don't lose them. And then our next step of the process will be to remove the ignition coil. Just be gentle because it is connected on one end, the end closest to the firewall. Just give it a slight tug. You're just removing those coil packs from the spark plugs themselves, and I just maneuver it so I can get enough clearance so I can see the spark plugs. Once you do that, then you can go ahead and start planning to remove them. Here's a close-up of the spark plugs and just being able to have line of vision. So I use a 5/8 spark plug socket, but the longer extended one that has the rubber grip and the magnet on the end. I place it slowly and carefully over the spark plug, make sure it fits, and then I'll get a ratchet to start to remove it. Remember, you only need to remove it about a quarter to a half a turn, and then you can do it by hand. So I just turn it and slowly remove the spark plug. I set all the spark plugs aside so I can inspect them. I'd like to see what's going on with the cylinders, and then I'll get the new spark plugs to replace them. Now, it's a matter of preference, but I use the Bosch Double Platinum 8115. Those do really well, but you have to remember you got to set the spark plug gaps or check them if they're preset. They're 0.035 inches to 0.040 inches, or if you want to target millimeters, it's 0.9 millimeters. As I said, get your own spark plug gap tool. I'm putting it in the middle at 0.9 millimeters, just checking the gap on each one, making sure it's within the tolerances. This does make a difference. And be very careful when putting it back in. That's why I like the longer 5/8 inch tool. What I can do is just gently center it and then turn it. And also with the magnet and the rubber grip, it holds a spark plug very well. That way I don't damage the end. So torque specs are important. The torque setting on this is somewhere between 26 and 30 foot-pounds. If you don't have a torque wrench, you pretty much want to have a snug fit and about a quarter turn for these spark plugs. Once you put in all the spark plugs and they're all tightened to spec, you need to go ahead and place the rail back on, line them up with the spark plug, line up the holes, and then we can start putting those 4 bolts back in. Remember, there's 4 of them and it's a 13mm socket. I usually just put them in by hand to make sure they line up, that the threads make contact, and then what I do is line them up on all the holes, and then I go back and then use my torque wrench to set everything in. And this spec is approximately 21 pounds. I think it's 21 to 23 pounds for the coil rail bolts. Okay, we're almost done. Let's put the air intake hose back on, the crankcase vent tube, tighten up the throttle body, the vent tube area, and back to the air filter housing. Now let it run, and you are good to go. That's a wrap. Thank you for watching. Got all the torque settings, everything back in place, and we are good to go. Please like if this helped and subscribe to our channel.